many senses as you can while describing something. As I told you before, whenever we describe, we tend to focus and to rely on what we can see most of the time. The goal of this exercise is to remind you that whatever you are describing, you try as much as you can include the different senses. So we have described an apple, coffee, etc. Now, today, we see how you can describe a newspaper. I would like your suggestions. What you can see, what you can hear, as many senses as you can. Now remember that we cannot include all the senses wherever we describe anything. But what matters is that you include a maximum of senses in your description. So what do you suggest for to see if you want to describe a newspaper? What can you say? What can you talk about? Remember what you can see. You have a newspaper in front of you. If you want to describe it, yes, but you can describe colors. Yes, colors existing. Because we can have some newspapers where we have pictures. It can be colorful. Yes, the way the font of the headlines, for example, the way the letters, when you say the letters are talking about the font used. For example, you can describe it. This is what you can see. What about what you can hear? Is it possible to include what you can hear when you talk about a newspaper? Number of pages, yes. No. A newspaper does not speak. There's no way to include what you can hear. The crack. Yes. If we may talk about a crack when we talk about a papers. Crunch. Maybe if we talk about an apple. If someone is having a newspaper in his hand and he is turning pages, we can talk about shuffling, to shuffle. For example, when you turn the pages, yes, that's the sound, Mariam. To shuffle. Without looking, if someone is behind you, uh, if someone is behind you turning pages, you can hear this sound. Yes, Russell Lamia is suggesting yes, which is a good word. We use it for especially dry leaves or paper. You're right. Now, what about the smell? Does it have a smell? Yes. No, yes, they can smell when you have a newspaper near your nose. You can hear, you can smell. You can have the smell of the ink, inky. Yes, can be nasty. Depends on whether you like the smell of ink or not. What about the taste? Have you ever eaten a newspaper? No. So here it will be very difficult to include. Yasin says not yet. Okay, who knows? But we say it in Moroccan Arabic about someone who revises very well. Can say even he can eat papers. I don't know whether the translation is acceptable. What about the touch? When you touch a newspaper, yes, so I can talk about smooth papers, soft, yes, yes, good. Now we move to the pastry. Now here, yes, can leave the ink in your hand. Yes. Maybe you can talk about this, describing you touch a newspaper and then you have traces of ink in your hand. It happens. All right. Now, describing a pastry, I think here you have uh, much to say. What you can see when you have a pastry in front of you. The shape. We can talk about the shape, yes? No, no, no. Yassine, we're talking about a pastry. Attention. Here, this is what we call a pastry. I'm sorry, you're fasting, so I'm not. My aim is not to remind you. Yes, colors. We can talk about colors. Pastries are full of colors. Yes, I'm not talking about the place where we make pastries. We are talking about the pastry itself. Yes, decorations, how they are decorated. Yes. Ingredients, maybe. Yes, size, you're talking about shapes, yes. All right. Now, what about what you can hear? Is it possible to? crunchy. Mm-hmm. Annoying. Crunchy. The noise is bigger for eating a pastry. Annoying sound. It depends. Sometimes when you eat pastry, uh, maybe can be disgusted, possible. But if you don't find anything, we move to the smell. How about the smell of, especially when you go inside a bakery where you have many pastries? Of course, you have your nose is full of good smell. Good, yes, but can you be more specific? Butter smell, yes, the smell of butter, honey, so good. Butter, honey, caramelic, yes. Maybe here it calls to mind the ingredients used in that pastry. Caramel, smell, yes, strawberry, etc., chocolate, whatever. Then here you have in mind the ingredients used, and of course their smell. You can smell it. Then the taste. Now here the taste. I think you can have many things to say. Sweet. Mhm. Delicious. Yes. Full of flavor. Savory. Yes, that's it. Full of sour. It can be if the taste is not. If you don't like. Mouth watering. Tasty. Hard to swallow. Depends on the type of. Yes, delicious, savory, luscious, yummy. You have many, many words. Of touch, is there anything that you can say about the touch? To some, yes. Yes, as far as the touch, sticky, rough, depends on the type of cold, hot. Yes. Oily. Yes. Good. Now we move to an old pair of shoes. How can you describe what you can see? Of course, old. Yes. Dirty. Worn out. Torn. Tear torn. Yes. Yes. Faded is not appropriate. Huh? Something that fades. Something tends to disappear. Yes. A bad color. Full of holes. Crease. Creases. Yes. Maybe dusty. You want to mean with you. Uh-huh. Yes. Right. So we have many things too. The creases are the lines that you can find, especially when something is old, uh, or if a paper is being crushed, you have some creases on it. Same for old shoes. Yes, that's like wrinkles, but wrinkles are for more for face. I would say for the skin. Yes, wrinkles, but the corresponding word for things are creases, which means more or less like wrinkles. Yes. Now, what you can hear, is there something that you can include? Loud noise. Can you imagine someone walking and having an old pair of shoes? Now, footsteps, that's for all people walking, but is there something that shows that the shoes are old or nothing? Muad, you switch off your mic. Thank you. Nothing. So if you don't find anything, I mean, we could not be. Now the smell. What about the smell? That smell. Mm-hmm. When you have a bad smell for shoes, we have a word for that. Stinky. Yes, that's it, Jawad. Nasty. Yes. Rotten. Yes. All right. Now we move to the taste. Of course, nothing. The touch. Is there anything that you can include in touch? Yes, I can add here the rotten and putrid. It has other meanings, but it could mean also something that you dislike, that you cannot look at. Rough, maybe, for the touch. When you say dirty, that would be in what you can see more. Yes, grimy. If it is when you touch it, you feel of dirt, for example. But still, here, grimy would go with should be here with what you can see more. Because grimy is like if you say dirty, All right. Now, last word, which is lemon. Now, what you can see. Yes, of course, the color, the shape. You can specify the type of color you have. Big, small, shape. Yellow, sometimes green. What you can hear. So if you are squeezing sound, yes, possible. Well, that's a possibility. What about the smell? Now, even when you say peeling, when you peel lemon, it's hard to hear that sound. Nearly, there is silence. We feel as if there is silence when you peel. But we may talk about the sound of peeling if you want. So here, smell refreshing. Yes, the smell of lemon is refreshing. Good smell. But here, good is a word that you can find everywhere. It's like here, bad, good. It's a general word. It's good if you can identify the type of smell. What do you mean by good smell? Yes, refreshing is a good example. Makes it good because it is refreshing. Now, what about the taste? Taste of lemon. It is bitter, yes. You have the flavor, sour, mhm, acid, yes. Fizzy because you feel it's like acid again. Sweet, well, sweet if you like the taste of lemon. What about the touch? Tangy also can be possible. Strong, yeah? cold. So here, cold, hot. Yes. Wrinkled. If it is not smooth. Or smooth, the opposite. Soft, etc. So I want to remind you here, please. When you want to describe whatever you want to describe, bear in mind including as many senses as you can. The more senses you include, the more your description would look real and vivid, and the reader would be able to imagine what you can see yourself, or what you can hear, or what you can taste, etc. Now, last time I gave you a homework. Describe a person you love. I would be pleased if you can share with us just one paragraph, not the introduction. First paragraph in the development. If someone has it ready in Word document, you can maybe copy and paste, and we will discuss it together. Describe a person you love. That was your previous homework. And again, I remind you that the only way to prepare for the exam is to write essays. Remember that you'll be required to write a 5-paragraph essay in the exam. Either you'll have a choice between either a narrative or a descriptive essay. This time it's an essay, not a paragraph. But in order not to waste time, we would like to discuss together just a paragraph if someone has it ready. Has anyone done his the homework? So here Miriam has given us an example. Thank you. Okay, so here we have an example. And I would like you to read and to give me your feedback. Remember, we want to describe the person you love. Now, you read and remember the topic. Describe a person you love. No, I told her to include just the first paragraph, not the introduction. The first paragraph in the development. This is her first paragraph in the development. Of course, she has an introduction. Now, if you consider that this is paragraph is part of the development, is it appropriate? Do you have any remark? First read. I give you a few minutes to read. What do you think? We are focusing now focusing on content. Remember the topic? Where is it? It's a little bit bigger so that you can read well. Describe a person you love. That is the topic. Now, do you have any remark about the paragraph? Or you think it's good? I'm talking about content. Just the content and the link with the topic. That's my question. Tariq says that she did not mention that she loved her father. Maybe she talked about this, I'm sure, in the beginning, in the introduction. Yes, for sure. But yes, so yes, it is clear. Yes, in terms of description of happiness is good, but pay attention. This is something that you remind me of many of the essays that are correct. Is that, for example, when you have the case of describing a person, if you have describing a person, many students have already made a description that they can put anywhere, and it doesn't work. Okay? Now, remember that the goal of your description is to describe a person you love. To make it a perfect description is to try to include elements in your description that leads you to loving this person. And here you have a good example here. That's I like. He's got big, beautiful brown eyes and an expression full of kindness. Now here, this is a good, it suits well the topic. But the other descriptions that you have included can be included in any description irrespective of the topic. Okay? So my remark here is please keep in mind the topic. And if you are describing a person you love, whatever description you include should lead us to the conclusion. That's why I love this person. For example, if you describe his character, you describe some of his qualities and showing it's because of this quality that I love him. Okay? But it's not description for the sake of describing, because here the description of the appearance is good, but it can fit anywhere. It can fit describing any person. And here I would like you to avoid doing that, please. Your description should lead us to our topic. For example, if I say, describe the strangest person that you have ever met. Strange. Don't tell me he has elegant clothes or casual clothes, blue jeans, t-shirt. He wears a sweet. He can wear. Is wearing a jalaba. So if you say these things, you are not telling us something that is connected with the topic, which is describe a person who is strange. So maybe here you have to be imaginative. Even if you have no one in mind, you can describe someone. For example, if you think that he is strange, try to that this should be reflected in your description. Okay, for example, just the type of clothes can make him strange. Now, if he wears blue jean, for example, and t-shirt, he looks like everyone. But if he is wearing some special clothes, some different clothes that makes him different, then he can be a strange person. Okay, so I would like to thank your friend for the good paragraph, which is good, but one remark that I have, which whatever description you have to include, it should meet the goal that we have in our topic, which is the fact that you love that person. And maybe you can include it's because he is an elegant person that you like him, for example. But this should be always, you have to remind the reader of these things. You admire him because he tends to put clothes according to occasions. This should be included explicitly. All right? Not just implicitly. Now, can you please suggest, but overall the paragraph is very good. Can you suggest this time a narrative topic, please? Narrative. Remember, please, at home, you write essays, not paragraphs, because in the exam, you are, here we have copied just one paragraph because our goal is not, we don't have time to look at the whole essay. Yes. Can you suggest a narrative topic, please? Yes. Any suggestion? Okay, Hisham suggest a trip. It's not a bad experience, Mariam, a bad. Exams day. Okay. A job interview. Yes. Since you're in Ramadan, a hard fasting day. Yes. To bring it close to the context where we are. Moving to another place. Yes, we have very good suggestions. We will opt for, since we are in Ramadan, I'll opt for the topic suggested by your friend, a hard fasting day. Now here, it looks like a descriptive topic. It can be dealt with in a descriptive way, but it can also tell us about a hard fasting day. Now here we talk about events. Remember things you did, etc. during that day that make it a hard one. Okay, so this is your homework. Please write, share with your friends, and I'm sure you'll benefit from that. Let me take notes so that I don't forget. Okay, now we move to talking about something which is very important that many students tend to forget. For example, if you look at the paragraph given by your friend, there is not a single transition or transitional word. Okay, and here the use of transition is very important. Even when the relationship looks clear for you, you have to make it crystal clear for the reader. Now look at the first line here and try to summarize it in your own words, please. What does this sentence says? Try to so I'm waiting for you to say in your own words. Yes, use of linking words are very important. Can you give me examples of linking words? Examples of linking words? Example of linking words, yes. So you have although, yes, however, such as although and but, in addition, on the one hand. Attention, when you say on the one hand, automatically we expect that you will say on the other hand. I don't. Sometimes some student says on the one hand and there is no other hand. Remember that there is no space before punctuation marks, okay? Always delete the space before, and you need a space after the punctuation mark. If I on the other hand, etc. So here these are examples of linking words. We call them linking words or transitional linking or transitional words. Now pay attention, we need those linking words within paragraphs and between paragraphs also. Okay? In a paragraph or essay, not just a paragraph. So you need first linking words within a paragraph. And then if you want to move from one paragraph to another, it's good to include linking words. Even when the relationship between your ideas seems clear to you. Okay? Even if it seems clear to you, you have to make it even crystal clear to the reader. I mean, when you use linking words, you are facilitating the process of understanding because it's you who have come up with the ideas, the content. So you understand what you are talking about. But remember that you are writing for someone else and he needs to understand exactly what you have understood. So therefore, the use of linking words is a must. It's not a choice. It's a must. Okay, so if you say, however, I expect opposition. If you say, consequently, I expect that you will write about a result or a consequence. If you say, in addition, I understand that you add something. If you say, indeed, I understand that you are illustrating, that you want to give an example, etc. So please remember. So maybe this should be an exercise in revising. When you finish your essay, in your revision, ask yourself whether you have included enough linking words. So whenever it's possible, you include, and believe me, your essay would look better when you have those linking words. So we will have a few minutes. We will start. Maybe I can give you sheets where it shows you different examples of different transitional words. Now, let's move to number 3. Try to it doesn't like. Now try to read and summarize the idea here. Try to summarize these few sentences here. What do you understand? In your own words, please. Yes. Try to write what you have understood. Ahmed has given a suggestion, but I'm waiting for the others. Yes. Yes, Yamna is summarizing well what is said here. Yes, you're right, Ahmed. Same thing. For example, and this is a mistake done by students, especially when the topic is describe a person. Most of some students have a ready-made description that they have written before or they found in on the net, whatever, about a person, physical description, and they include in any description many paragraphs. They think that they have done the right thing, which is not correct. Okay, if I ask you to describe a kind person, whatever description you have to include should help us come up to the conclusion that this person is kind. So you have to describe his kind actions. For example, you admire a person, you tell us why you admire him. You don't admire him because he is tall, green eyes, fat, thin, tall. These are very general descriptions of physical description that does not meet the topic. So your description should meet the topic. That's one. Second, if you say he is stupid, you have to tell us to show us some acts, some behavior that shows us that he is stupid. She is beautiful. Describe so that we, the reader, comes to the conclusion that this person is beautiful from the way you describe. Okay, of course you cannot avoid adjective of judgment at all in the descriptive essay. You are anyway obliged to use them from time to time, but just remember that um, it's what you say you have to show, if you remember, rather than write about a person or about a place. ugly. If you are describing an ugly person, don't say again he is tall, tall, fat. No, whatever you say should uh, otherwise don't include it, because that would be an unnecessary detail. If you are describing, giving a description which is too general that can be included in any description, then it's not the right description. Okay, so your description should meet the topic of your essay. Yes, yes, feel free to share, Yamna. That's a very good example, Yamna. That meets what we have said. You love that woman, okay, because she is wise, okay, good mentor, and you have learned good attitudes from her. All right. So it's not just you who is pleased, who like her. It's the people around, because she is charm. She has a charming personality that pleased people around her, including me as a daughter. Okay. Again, she is explain once more wisdom. Uh, just here, I have a remark is that whenever you talk about, for example, when you talked here about wise, automatically keep on explaining and not talk about something, then move to charming, then go back to wisdom, so that there is a kind of coherence. But it is a good example. All right? Yes. So if I say she is wise, explain, giving acts of wisdom, then moving to charming, etc. And that's why, for all these qualities, that's why I love my mother or my father, etc. That's good, Yamna. It's a good example. Now, so instead of saying that this flower is beautiful, describe it, and the reader will come up to the conclusion that this flower is beautiful. He is ugly, describe him, to the extent that at the end we come up to the conclusion he must be a very ugly person from your description. So the details that you include will help us come up to the same conclusion as you. Now look at next here. And here we have an example, a good example of this. If you read the example, you can understand. Sorry. Yes, now there is a remark given by Ahmed, which is correct. We say she is a wise woman and a good mentor. Yes, but we need not pay attention to um, that could be a small problem. We're focusing on the content, which is good. There are some spelling problems, it's not a big deal. Now look at number 4 and tell me yes. Now here the use of noun and verbs, because generally when we talk about descriptive essays, we cannot avoid using adjectives. But the example given to you here shows that it is possible to use nouns and verbs. Abdelaziz, we are trying to summarize the line highlighted. Yes, Yamna. Now here, if you mix or if you just use noun and verbs, and look at the example. The example is revealing adjectives, vivid nouns, and verbs makes the description completed. Yes, more completed. Yes, and you see, look at the example given here. The newborn lamb was very small and steady on its legs and able to make only feeble sounds. Now here we have used adjectives, but you see that the sentence is too short. When we include nouns, then our paragraph is longer, because there are some students who have problems to write long paragraphs. Like here, the newborn lamb, not much larger than a melon. Now here, the idea of smallness, very small, is we compare this lamb to a melon, tell me that he is very small. And steady on its legs. Instead, we say staggered as a verb, round the grass making sounds. Now here, feeble sounds, which is an adjective instead of feeble. We're trying to look for something that makes a feeble sound. And here, a good description is of a plastic horn used by a child. And it's good, the use of a child here blowing, because if it was an adult, he could make a loud sound. But the sound here is very feeble. We can understand that a child, the choice of the word child is very successful, very good here, because it gives us the idea that the author wanted to transmit, which is that the sound of that newborn lamb is very feeble. Yes, but here you see that we have included nouns, verbs, not just adjectives. Okay. Now here, since we talked about a few minutes ago, we talked about transitions and the importance of transitions. Share with you, then I will put, normally it is put, I guess, in the university platform, but I will put it again in Google Classroom. Transition. Now here to talk about the importance of transition. I would like you to read or before we move in to this, I would like you to remind me about what we talked about today. See if to refresh our mind. What do you remember? Is there something interesting that you remember from today, or nothing was that new or that interesting for you? If you remember just one thing, if you find just one thing interesting, that's great for me. So, what do you remember from today? Yes, so here we have this. So we can write maybe here so that when you read, you can understand. We recapitulate, recapitulation. We need, as Mukhtar said, use the 5 senses. That's very important. Do not limit yourself to what you can see. Of course, as we have seen the exercise, it's not always that we can use all the 5 senses. Remember also the para senses we talked about before, feelings, etc. But try to use as much as you can. Yes, Othman. Now here, this is yes. It's as if we are not describing for the sake of describing. Our description has a goal. Okay? It meets, in other words, our description has or must have a goal which is to meet our topic. Using linking words. Yes, so using linking words. Linking words are used not just to show the sequence of events, but it can be used for any reason to show the logical relationship between your sentences. To make clear the type of relation between your sentences, such as the sequence of events. Cause and effect, etc. So the linking words role is not is to just to make explicit the relationship between your sentences, between your paragraphs, between your sentences and paragraphs, so that we remember that we need to include linking words, transitional words, within our paragraphs and between paragraphs. Yes, Jawad is talking about the use. Use. Use verbs, nouns, rather than just adjectives. Yes. Is there anything else that you think was important to remind us? The reason for describing. Is there anything else? Yes, Mukhtar says, reminds us of the homework. Don't forget that you are supposed to write about a hard fasting day. Yes. Any? That's all. So Mukhtar says that's all. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention, participation. Please write, write, and write to prepare for the exam. Okay. Take care of yourselves. See you next week, inshallah. Goodbye.